welcome to the show, everybody. Sean Palmer's here. Seth Kamen's about to come online, or so we hope. Welcome back. I am back from my trip. I am back from everything for now for another month and a half, give or take. I got to tell you, it's a little interesting being home in Atlanta in the abode, if you will, and being unpacked. Generally not really all that ready to be unpacked for too long. So I got some family coming in the next couple of weeks, so that'll break up the monotony. Work has been keeping me busy, as it has been keeping Mr. Kamen's. You know that. I mean, we all know this is the time, 4/15, right? The big day for tax accountants. And that's why Seth is preoccupied more than normal. It's just that simple. So let's get right to it, right? So what do we have? Well, in Sean's world, we have the Islanders once again screwing the pooch, right? Lost their last two games, losing to the Penguins in absolutely dramatic fashion, up 2-0, and then thoroughly get demolished and lose 8-3, giving up 5 goals in the second period and then 3 in the third. So losing 8-3. And then last night on the back-to-back, losing 4-3 to the Sabres, the team that has the longest playoff drought is the Buffalo Sabres. And that's going to change. So hopefully that is good notions for the second team with the longest drought, and that would be the New York Jets. So the Sabres in first place in what I used to call the Adams division. I'm not exactly sure what that's called anymore. Looking at the divisions, they are in the Atlantic division with 100 points. So them and Carolina have 100 points. Right now, the Islanders are still somehow in the wild card with 89. Now, they do have an extra game at play over the Blue Jackets, who have 88. Tomorrow is a pretty big day in the hockey land for Los Islanders. So if you look at Thursday tonight, nothing big on. Everybody's on the West Coast, Western Conference. If you look at tomorrow, if you are an Islanders fan, you are rooting for the Sabres against the Senators. You are rooting for the Lightning against the Penguins. You are rooting for the Panthers against the Bruins. You are rooting for the Rangers against the Canadiens. Rooting for the Rangers is bad. You're rooting for the Flyers against the Red Wings, and you're rooting for the Hurricanes against the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets being definitely the biggest game. The Blue Jackets and the Penguins, right? Senators, I believe, are still in the hunt for the wild card. You just want the Blue Jackets to lose. Right now, the Islanders are actually in third place with 89 points. The Blue Jackets in the wild card with 88. So Blue Jackets lose. They're up 76 points, right? 76 games with 88 points. The Islanders, 89 games with 76 games, the equal amount of games. And it's finally coming to fruition. I think it's 7 games left, right? The Islanders have, I believe it's 7 games left. They play 6 games left. 6 games. At home against Philadelphia, at Carolina, that is a loss. They are going to get crushed. And then they play 4 games at home. Toronto, Ottawa, huge game on Saturday, April 11th. Sunday, April 12th against Montreal. Again, another huge game. And then at home against Carolina, who has become the nemesis for the Islanders. And yeah, so losing, they have to win at least 4 out of 6. And right now they have 2 against Carolina, both home and away. They have 2 games against Ottawa and Montreal, both home. They end on a 4-game homestand. If it's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, it's just not going to happen. And unfortunately for me, my premonition may be coming true. I did talk to my brother at the beginning of the season. I did say that I did not think the Islanders would make the playoffs. I still don't. They're just not a good enough team. Matt Schaefer has totally resurrected this program. Ilya Sorokin is probably going to win the Vezina as the best goalie in the NHL. And that's lovely. And Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat, and they have some pieces, but they are missing. They are missing youth. They are missing speed. And right now, that's a big deal. And if you look at the teams that they're chasing, the teams are chasing them. The Senators, the Canadians, the Blue Jackets all have a little bit more oomph, a little bit more pep in their step. So where is that going to lead? I can't tell you. The hope is that it will lead to a playoff run. Truth be told, if you're drafting 13th or drafting 12th, who knows? Right? Who knows? But okay. So looking on the other side, right? Looking at the NBA. So we'll talk more about the NHL playoffs next week when this is all ironed out, or at least most of it is. We still have games, I believe, until the last game is Thursday, April 16th. Like I said, that will not the Eastern Conference will be decided, I believe, on Wednesday, right? Wednesday, the Senators play, the Red Wings play. Tuesday, the 14th, that's when the Islanders will find out. They play the Hurricanes, 7 o'clock on Tuesday, the 14th. Okay. So let's move on to the NBA, right? The NBA has a little bit more time. Not much. I mean, they're pretty much the same in scheduling. The last regular season game for the NBA, I believe, is the 17th or 18th. Nope. 17th, it looks like the playoffs have started. I'm looking at this right now. The 13th, the NBA playoffs start on Prime Video. I assume that's the play-in. So the last game is Sunday, the 12th. If we're looking at the standings and the way that they stand right now, right? The Knicks have clinched a playoff spot. Congratulations in the lowly East. 1 game ahead of the Cavaliers, 4 games ahead of the Hawks. So the Knicks will either be the 2, 3, or 4. They are 2.5 games. They have 6 games to go. They're 2.5 games behind the Celtics. Thinking the Celtics probably have number 2. They are 1 game ahead of the Cavaliers. So, do you want to play the Hawks or do you want to play the Raptors if you're the Knicks? Do you want to play the Pistons in round 2 or do you want to play the Celtics in round 2? And the Cavaliers really can decide this because while the Knicks schedule, looking at the remainder of it, right? Remember, in the East, you're looking at tanking teams. How many tanking teams do you have left to play? So in the East, they have Memphis, tanker, Chicago, tanker, Atlanta, at Atlanta on Monday. Wow, that may be a game I have to go to. At home against Boston, then against Toronto and against Charlotte. So they have 2 tanking teams, the first and the third. So tonight and Friday, they have 2 tanking teams which they go against. So now looking at the Cavs, I believe the Cavs have an easier schedule than that. So remember, Cavs have I believe they have the tiebreaker as well. You're looking at Golden State, that's not tanking. Indiana, tanking. Memphis, tanking. Washington, tanking. 3 tanking teams. And then they play a back-to-back 2 games in 3 days against Atlanta. 1 at home, a home and a road baseball series, home and away, back to back. Friday the 8th Wednesday the 8th and Friday the 10th. So you basically have the ability to tank, the ability to, if you want to win, it'll be interesting on the 10th and the 12th, especially the 12th, if the Cavs are within 1 game and they have that tiebreaker. Do they want to jump up and play in the 3rd seed and play, let's say, the Raptors? Although that's a whole different ballgame. Or do they want to stay at the 4th seed and play the Hawks? Now, truth be told, let's look at the standings. In 5th place is the Hawks, 12 games back. A half a game back from them is the Raptors. A game and a half is the 76ers in 7th. Then the Magic at 14.5, then the Heat at 15, and the Hawks and the Hornets at 15. So that 12 to 15 is only 3 games difference And that could change too, right? So on the last day of the season, if we're looking at this, which I believe I said was the 12th, which is that Sunday, you have Washington at Cleveland. You have Detroit at Indiana. That won't matter. You have Atlanta at Miami. So Atlanta at Miami. Right now, Atlanta is 12 games out of first place, and Miami is 15. That's going to matter. It's going to matter for seeding. You also have Charlotte playing New York. That's going to matter. Milwaukee playing Philadelphia. Does Philadelphia want to win? Probably, because they don't want to play in the playing game. They are the one team more than anybody else that does not need to play additional games, right? They are just where they are. So which way do you want to stream this, guys? Which way do you want to look at this if you are an NBA team? Who do you want to play? Are you looking at the Pistons with or without Cade Cunningham? Are you looking at being the 3 or the 4 in which you would get home court advantage? Are you looking at, do I want to play the Celtics or the Pistons in round 2? But that's presuming you get to round 2 and knowing the Cleveland Cavaliers and the postseason history of one James Harden. Is that even a sure thing? They are 7-3 in their last 10. They have played incredibly well in their last 20 games. If you are the Knicks, you want home court advantage. You are 27-9 at home. Think about that. 27-9. You are 20-19 on the road. You are 500 on the road. And you are 20, doing math. You're almost 74%, 73% at home. So you're 50% away, 73% at home. You want to play at home. There is no team. Well, sorry, the Pistons are 29-9. And once you get to West. But if you look at this, there are only 3 teams that have equal or more home wins. You have the Pistons at home, 29-9. You have the Thunder, who are 32-6 at home. And you have the Spurs at 29-7. Those are the only teams that are better than the Knicks at home. You want to be at home if you are the New York Knickerbockers. And the question is, can you get there? I'm not so sure about that. Look, a second-round matchup between the Knicks and the Celtics will be amazing. Will be awesome. What has Jason Tatum done since he has come back, you ask? Jason Tatum is averaging 20.9 points a game in 31 minutes. It's like the guy never left. He's got 9.1 rebounds, 4.2 assists. I think his shooting numbers are down a little bit. He is shooting 40% from the field and 33% from 3, just to give you some understanding. He normally shoots about 45% from the field and 36% from 3. So he's down 6% on his field goals and 3%, 3.5% from three-point land. Free throws are the same, averaging more rebounds, more assists. He's averaging 20.9 points. His career average is 23.5. So you're looking at this and going, how are the Celtics not the favorites? Well, and myself, and I don't consider myself too much of an expert, but myself and everybody else is going to say the same thing. We have seen Jason Tatum play twice a week, right? We have seen him play, I believe he's played 11 games. 11 games. 11 games, they've lost twice. They're 9-2. The most minutes that he has played is 37 minutes. Now, that's a lot of minutes. In that game where they beat the Hawks, he shot 33%, 25% from 3, 25% from 3, 12 rebounds, 26 points. They won 109-102. That happened on Friday. If Jason Tatum is shooting 8 for 24 and 33% in the playoffs, they will likely lose. That's 37 minutes. Looking at his numbers, where he has played more than 35 minutes. Well, he's only played twice. So let's look at more than 32 minutes. He has shot 44%, 42%, 41%, and 33%. Now, Sunday, he shot 52% and went 12 for 23 against the Hornets. Maybe he's improving. Maybe he is. But if he starts shooting like that, 20%, he's got a 20% game, 3 for 15. He's got 237s, a 33. This is not the Jason Tatum that we know. This is not the Jason Tatum we expect. But this may be what you're getting today for this season. And I think they still have some room as to how they are going to maneuver and how they are going to play together, right? So Jaylen Brown, last 10 games, right? Because he's the biggest either beneficiary or one that's going to lose it. 9 for 29, 9 for 17, 9 for 26, 10 for 23, 11 for 20, 10 for 20, 6 for 13, 10 for 25. So the first game that Tatum played, let's just go, right? Let's go figure this out. Because what has Jaylen Brown done since Jason Tatum has come back? It's pretty simple to find that, right? So Jason Tatum came back. Go to the recent games. Jason Tatum came back on March 6th. Jaylen Brown on March 6th shot 52%. Okay. So Monday, 3:30. How is that possible? Hold on one second. So on 3:30, when Jaylen Brown goes 9 for 29 and 29 points in the loss against Atlanta, Jason Tatum did not play back to back. Go to Sunday, where Jason Tatum shot 52% from the field against Charlotte. Okay, this can't be right because they have different games. That's funny. Maybe Jaylen Brown didn't play. Looks like he didn't play on 329. All right, so last game that the two of these guys played, they are pretty much alternating. So in 322, Tatum shoots 37%, and Brown shoots 34.6. Now they won the game. They lost the game against Minnesota. Against Oklahoma City, Brown played. Tatum played 325. They both play. They beat Oklahoma City. Brown shoots 52%. Tatum shoots 41%. And they win. So now if you look to the West, right? And the West is just a whole more exciting. I don't know if it's exciting. They're just better, right? Oklahoma City clinches 60-16. San Antonio, 57-18, ladies and gentlemen. So my over-under of 44 wins, winning. And by the way, Wizards, 17-58, over-under of 21. They would have to win out to win. Don't think that's happening. The Lakers, surprising third, 50-26. The Nuggets, 48-28. The Timberwolves, 46-29. Tied with the Rockets, who beat the Knicks last night, 46-29. And the play-in teams are pretty much assured being the Suns, the Clippers, the Blazers, and the Warriors. The Warriors in 11.5 game lead over the Grizzlies for that. So it is pretty set in the West as to where you're going to be. You have the 4 play-in teams. You have 6 teams being pretty set, right? You may have 5 and 6 flip. Timberwolves and Rockets are tied 13.5 out. In the East, it can go from 6 to 10. 2.5 games. Any of these guys can win. Any of these times could be in the play-in. The Hornets have dropped off, but they are still going to make the playoffs at 40-36. You're looking at the 76ers and going, are they the sleeping giant? They're 6-4 in their last 10. But remember what their team looks like. Tyrese Maxey is averaging 28. Joel Embiid is averaging 26. Paul George suspended, averaging 16, 5, and 5, 16, 5, and 4. VJ Edgecombe, who will be third in the Rookie of the Year, 16 points. They just can't get healthy. If you look at this as usual, Embiid, 36 games. George, we talked about. First injured, then suspended, 30 games. Kelly Oubre, 43 games. This team, if healthy, this team is a solid top 6 squad. And if you're the Cavs, do you want to be the 3 or do you want to be the 4? Is if you're the 4, you're playing the 5 in the first round, right? You're definitely playing the Hawks. Or you don't know, but you're probably playing the Hawks. If you're the 3, you might play the 76ers. And the Knicks 76ers matchup, not really sure that's great for the Knicks. I think that might be, other than the Celtics, I think that may be the worst matchup for them. So we were going to go into the top 100 today and just switching gears a little bit as to which players would probably be in the top 100 and who would come out. I would rather speak to this with Seth, so we're going to push this for another week. Just perfectly fine. Stuff happens, right? So we're going to push our call till next week. Looking forward, very much looking forward to the rest of the NBA, very much looking forward to the NHL. I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed in what the NHL is bringing, just because my team is just stinking like crazy. Okay, one more thing before I go. From the person, so I am in this fantasy baseball league, right? I know we talk fantasy every once in a while on the show as it regards to football. We don't really have those discussions in baseball. For this year was the first year that I missed a draft. I had to auto draft. I was very disappointed. My flight, Montreal, got canceled, as you're well aware. So I had to miss my draft. And so here I am stuck with a team that looks like this. My catchers, and this is only offense, so no pitching, which makes it a lot easier. Alejandro Kirk and Francisco Alvarez are my catchers. Not great. I got first baseman, though. I drafted Tyler Soderstrom as my first baseman. I drafted Ketel Marte as my second. My shortstop's Corey Seager. My third base was Manny Machado and Austin Riley. My outfield was Jose Altuve, Kerry Carpenter. I traded somebody else just now. Hold on. I made a couple of trades. That's where we were going with this. So, rejected. Everything was rejected. That's not true, though. Transactions. Let's just look at this. Okay. So originally I had two guys that made two trades, right? I had Byron Buxton on my team. I had Marcus Semien on my team playing second base and Manny Machado as third base. So I had two third basemen that had to play every day in Austin Riley and Manny Machado. And I was like, all right, how do I rectify this? So I made a trade and I traded Machado. And I traded Byron Buxton and got Bryce Harper. So I traded an outfielder and got first baseman. And you're like, all right, well, I got Tyler Soderstrom there and I got Bryce Harper. So I traded into another problem, right? Because flexibility is important. Well, Soderstrom has first base and outfield eligibility, so he moves the outfield. Harper's still at first. Okay, Sean, now you have two third basemen in Manny Machado and Austin Riley. So yesterday I pulled off another deal and I traded Manny Machado and Marcus Semien, and I took back Rafael Devers and Mike Trout. Now you're saying, do you believe in Mike Trout? I want to believe so much in Mike Trout. I want him to be healthy. I want this to work. Do I believe in Rafael Devers? Not really. Look, he's a hitting machine, but he's batting second for the Giants. I don't believe in the Giants whatsoever. So do I believe in that? So understand how I went with this. I saw Marcus Simeon as a bench piece because he was. I have Keto Marte at second. I have Corey Seager at third, at shortstop. Simeon's never going to play, not with these two guys. And I had a hole in the outfield. And I was like, all right, so Machado gets out of third. It ruins it weakens my third base platoon, but I still have Austin Riley to play third. Devers, now I have a first base problem, right? Because I have Bryce Harper and Rafael Devers, but one of them could play DH for the most of the time. And then I got Mike Trout in the outfield, so I solved the outfield problem. My next step is to trade either Bryce Harper or Rafael Devers, hopefully Devers, and get some more flexibility there. That's the goal. So if I can find a trade and get a better catcher, because my catcher stinks, that would be beneficial. But we'll see. It's the problem with auto draft is that you always seem to get the injured guys, and I got two of them. I got Mickey Moniak, who is an outfielder from Colorado, and he's expected to be out with a finger. And I got Kyle Stowers, who's an outfielder from Miami, and he's going to be out at least 3 more weeks. So he has a hamstring problem. So we'll see. But at the end of the day, right? Who knows? All right. We're going to end at 5:30 today. Before I go, I want to wish my mother a very happy birthday. She turned 75 last week. I was out in Arizona, had a great time. Congrats, Mom. Happy birthday. And in the same week that my mother turned 75, my younger brother, Jay, turns 48. So his birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, buddy. I am so absolutely proud of you. What you've accomplished, what you continue to do with you and your family. I have loved seeing you grow up. You are awesome. I love you to death. And for those that do this whole prayer thing, sometimes I do that. I hope that you put a good wish in to my cousin, Adam Moskoff, undergoing some surgery tomorrow, some very needed surgery, but at the same time, a risky one. Again, another person in my family that I can't imagine being without. I very much look forward to talking to you tomorrow evening when everything comes out fine. But if there is that whole thing about prayer and you are looking for one today, send one up for Adam. Yeah. Okay. For Seth Kamens, I'm going to point over there because I'm not exactly sure where he is. He could be over there. It could be up there. It could be down there. For Seth Kamens, I am Sean Palmer. Seth and Sean Sports will be back next week with a full hour show. Hope you guys have a really great week. Enjoy the spring. Enjoy the playoff atmosphere. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day, everybody.